Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. Let's take a look at some charts here on this snowy setup Sunday, this pre-inauguration MLK Day setup Sunday. We'll take a look at Trump, the coin, in a minute here on Kraken. But as far as things go with things that matter, let's put it like that. You know, look, if BTC is doing well this year, it'll be because the dollar is down. US dollar. If alts do well, it'll be because we have QE, we have yield curve control, we have some sort of positive liquidity mechanism. So that's extremely important to pay attention to. Now, if you're convinced that these things are going to happen, you're pre-positioning ahead of that. If you pre-positioned ahead of this for the past 2 years, you've been wrong. So good luck. But we're not quite there yet. Liquidity is still declining. Interest rates are flat / not changing for several months. And the dollar is looking weaker. It's still a 109, which is quite high on a relative basis. Got some charts for that one. The regulatory clarity, you know, if it wasn't clear before the election, after the election, or the day before the inauguration, it's certainly clear it should be to most people now. You know, we have the president of the United States launching meme coins. I think anything goes at this point, for the most part. Ideally, with this geopolitical risk drops substantially as we see some ceasefire and or peace talks ramping up. We still have an uninversion of the yield curve we have to deal with. So is this going to be the only time that this is different? Is this different this time? Can we have recessions anymore? Will it matter? We'll see. But that's certainly in the back of my mind is the yield curve uninverting, which historically has always been a recession. Now, if you asked crypto wouldn't really know what's going on here in the macro side because BTC broke up. Sol hit an all-time high over the weekend. Ripple hit an all-time high last week. I'm sure other stuff is hitting all-time highs. So price momentum is back. Main Street clearly back in some way. Although one of the reasons we're seeing the liquidity sloshing around in alts is because there just isn't enough money to prop up everything at the same time. We've got X pool of capital. And when there's an event that happens where people want to buy it, they sell other stuff and move into that. I don't think we saw too many stable prints in the past 24 hours. In the past week, I think I saw a 250 USDC print, but I don't think I saw any Tether prints. So we're not seeing a ton of increased liquidity here that I can tell. Just crypto native endogenous liquidity. We're seeing exogenous money outside of crypto move in via ETFs, via BTC ETFs. But in the alt front, it's PVP. And of course, the big question for Monday is SBR or not. You know, we'll see. If we get an SBR announcement, the delineation between bullish and turbo bullish will be whether or not there's any declaration of buying additional coins or having X number of coins by X date, rather than just, we're not going to be selling anything, which is still bullish. But it's important to get the facts of that. Why would they pre-announce a buy? I don't know. But they might. You never know. As far as what I like here, I like the beta stuff a little bit more. I actually took an MSTR trade this week. I'm still holding. We'll take a look at that chart. And also, of course, are completely just all over the place. You know, I think the best thing to do for alts here, go to the weekly, see what you like, and ignore everything else. And we'll take a look at that, obviously, for the video. But Bitcoin at 100, 105, whatever it is, above the cloud, looks good. I mean, look, we came into this week 2 weeks ago, leaning bearish. Last week, turbo bearish. Technicals were turbo bearish. Doesn't mean they were wrong. They just are what they are. I take some off the gas 10 times out of 10 when charts look like that, and did so early December based on Williams fractals. Looking at the weekly ETF flows, ETH is still stagnating. Not really much to say there. It's tough. It's a tough sell. It doesn't have staking. It doesn't have in-kind. It's just hard. It's hard when people see Sol doing what Sol does, and Sol doesn't even have an ETF yet. Something to really watch, especially if you're an ETH maxi, is what happens with the Sol ETFs. If the Sol ETFs come out and are approved and out of the gate they're getting insane flows, ETH is in some serious trouble because so far, really not much going on the ETH front as far as flows are concerned. BTC almost put in another 2 billion last week, so that's huge. And you love to see it. On the dollar, on the chart, on the cloud, on the weekly, are we bearish or are we bullish? Buy, sell, or hold here, what do you do? It certainly looks less bullish than last week. Closed red, but ideally this week, if you're bullish crypto, you see a red candle again, but ultimately we want to start breaking these wicks to the downside. Maybe we set up for a multi-month head and shoulders where we got shoulder. This is the tip of the head here, and then something into Q2 where we break down from 106 to 100 in Q2 or something like that. But if this stops here, we're probably going to be okay. If this goes to 110, 112, 114, I mean, it's just going to be tough. Now, you could say it didn't matter from 100 to 109, and I'd agree with you, but man, it's just going to get harder and harder and harder because that means the 10-year yield probably gets 2.5 and above 5, and it's just tough. If we are winning this year on the crypto side of things, it's because the 10-year is down and dollar is down. So you really got to be careful here. I'm bullish like everybody else, but if this stuff gets carried away, then risk markets get angry, and inevitably that's going to spill its way into crypto, regardless of regulatory clarity. The read on the 10-year yield chart is fairly bullish. So again, you want to see this fail. You want to see this fail, absolutely. And then the other thing is TLT. What's funny about TLT is when it broke down back here in 2021, it certainly had a head and shoulders, but it actually ended up hitting the 2618 of the measured move, which you don't see that fairly often on legacy. I see it a lot on alts. I saw it a lot on ETH in 2017, but that just goes to show you how bearish this was. If TLT gets a reprieve, that means yields have calmed down. So you want to root for this chart in 2025. And maybe this is a massive mega inverted head and shoulders, but above 95, and you're probably a little better than you are here. I also want to point out gold, because gold is in the multi-decade cup and handle target range. It's still got a little bit in it to 3,000. And it's good that, to me, at least, gold looks bullish still here, because gold usually leads BTC. If we look at the gold cloud, what's your cold read here? Your cold read on anything that looks like this is bullish TK cross, price above cloud, bullish cloud. To me, that's bullish all day. So we can certainly be hopeful that BTC follows course here eventually in the next 3 months. Something else to obviously be mindful of is just the global liquidity equation. And it's hard to get bullish if this continues to break down. If this continues to break down, it's because the dollar is up, the 10-year is up, TLT is down, that sort of thing. It's not impossible for everything to do well. It's just extremely unusual because, once again, like gold, there's a lead lag relationship here where global liquidity typically leads both up and down BTC. And you can look at this back as far as you want, and the relationship usually holds true. And it certainly broke out for BTC, it did in July to September. So if you were bullish back here because you thought global liquidity would break up, then you certainly can't be turbo bullish here if it breaks down. Definitely something to continue to watch. As far as the 2-year moving average multiplier, this is just zoomed out. Something to continue to watch for the cycle. No threat of anything. The ceiling here is at 275 plus. Awesome. Keep on trucking. No big deal. Power law corridor, power law, whatever you want to call it. No big deal. We got plenty of ceiling in the tank here. If anything, the risk reward might be a little bit better here, assuming we break out, because things don't really start to get crazy until we're in the red zone. This is just the pre-bull zone. The late cycle euphoria zone starts after we break out, which just so happens to be around that 100K level. And we also have the cup and handle on BTC, not unlike gold. Now, it took gold 20 something years to break out. It's not going to take BTC 20 years to break out, but the pattern is very similar. And so this is my personal end of cycle level. It matches the power law corridor. It matches 2-year moving average multiplier. You're probably going to see MBRV spike up there. If we get up there, great. I'll be selling cold storage. I'll be selling anything that isn't nailed down. If we don't, we don't. That's fine. There are other ways to look at this, like the 20-week moving average, but I'm not worried about anything down here at a measly 100. It's funny how many people last week were saying, "Oh, the cycle's over," and then Solana plus 25. Trump launches a meme coin, whatever. I don't think that's on net bullish in general, but it is what it is. It is what it is, and nobody can do anything about it. Looking at daily BTC Cloud, we've got a mix of megaphones and right-angled broadening ascending wedges, whatever. They're both garbage. They're always garbage. I hate these patterns because you have to really be trusting that, oh, this is not going to break out the bottom. This is going to bounce here. It's more of a range trader's mentality. Maybe that's why I don't like it. But you've got this nested megaphone in this other angled pattern. Not super helpful to me after the hopefully failed head and shoulders, and that's what you want to see. No bullish TK recross just yet. We should get that soonish. I know last week I was talking about, oh, it's going to take 40 days. This is certainly one of the faster TK crosses on the daily you'll ever see. And if it does complete, great. If it takes another 20 days to complete, also great. Any variety should end up being bullish. This whole idea of the cloud is just trying to tell you big picture trend above the cloud, bullish, below the cloud, bearish, and then intra-trend, weakness or strength, you're going to see on the TK cross recross. So is this turbo bullish here? Is it send it to 300,000 billion trillion bullish here? No, but it's more bullish than it was when it was risking closing back into the cloud. What we certainly don't want to see this week is a close in the cloud. A close below 92 in the cloud, I can't imagine would be bullish here. So does it look better at 100 than it did at 92? I think so. But if we get back to 92, I don't think that's going to be super bullish. This is the 5200 cross. We're still pretty far away from the 200-day moving average, which is down there at 75-ish. That'll keep rising, but that's something also to just keep in mind. You know, in general, most markets don't really move too far away from these high moving averages. The 1050 is recrossed bullish. This will be one of the faster moving average crosses you will see. If you backtest this with MACD, together, those two are the best signals on backtesting. So to see this work back bullish already is great. Now, if it can hold the 50, even better. But these early crosses are already leaning bullish. If we pop on the alligator fractal system, also getting a full bullish cross here on alligator, you got a fractal breach to the top side here. So the early fast stuff is all telling you things look good here for BTC. Even MSTR, which again, reminder, pre-November, broke the range before BTC broke out, is a great bellwether for sentiment. Now I know there are 10,000 permabulls on MSTR, I get that. But on the chart, it's good to see this back above the daily cloud. Maybe we'll get a bullish TK recross on this in the next 2 weeks. And that's what you want to see, obviously, if you're bullish BTC. Also on the 4-hour, this is why I took a trade. This week, I identified what I thought was an inverted head and shoulders, and it took the trade somewhere over here. 365, I think, is what I got. Something thereabouts. Still in that one. Looks good. 430, 480, whatever. I'll take it. There's also a level at 436 to be mindful of. This could morph, you know, BTC slows down. This whole thing could morph into some sort of inverted head and shoulders with a neckline at 437 or something like that. Just something to keep in mind into Q2 if we pause here. Before we go any further and talk about everyone's favorite meme coin du jour, let me mention today's video sponsor, Kraken Pro. Kraken Pro is a complete overhaul of Kraken trading experience with a one-stop shop for advanced and professional traders. Kraken Pro enables efficient trading execution across multiple markets with a UI that allows for unique optimization tailored to your trading style. You can check out Kraken Pro at the link in the description of this video. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss. Cryptocurrency services are provided to U.S. and U.S. territory customers by Pair Ventures Inc., PVI, DBA, Kraken. If we pull up the old T-Dog here, I'm not talking about it because I want to talk about it. I'm not talking about it because they told me to talk about it. I'm talking about it because I know someone's going to ask me to talk about it. So let's talk about it. You can put TA on anything. You can put trend metrics on anything. For me, it's better off on high time frames. Once you trade enough and lose enough money on low time frames, using TA, you start to drift higher and higher and higher. I wouldn't ever touch this thing personally with a 47-foot pole. So there's that. But as far as the TA is concerned, maybe this morphs into some sort of inverted head and shoulders. On low time frames, I'm not really sure. But there's nothing really to do here. For me, you know, I want at least a year's worth of trading history before I think about trading anything. This thing is a high FDV. Be careful what you wish for type of setup. On Solana hit a new all-time high briefly over the weekend, thanks to everyone realizing that Solana is a casino again and aping into whatever is going on over there. On the cloud, to be fair to the trend, it has been bullish on the cloud really since, I guess it broke up somewhere back here at 135 on the weekly and has stayed above the cloud, hit the Kijun on the cloud here. Maybe this is a mini cup and handle. Maybe this is a mega cup and handle. But, you know, again, I've said this before. If you are turbo bullish Solana and you are convinced that this is going to break as a cup and handle and et cetera, wherever you want to measure this, you know, just hold, stake, do nothing. be happy that you're seeing all this nonsense around you. That's what you want. That's how SOL does well. Now, do I think, honestly, that SOL can 10x from here? I don't. I think it can probably go to 500 plus. We'll see, but it does measure above 1,000. So there's nothing that I'm going to say that's going to be bearish here. On the daily, the issue was it was in and out of the cloud. It's back above the cloud now. And as long as anything can hold above the daily cloud, I'll trade it. And we'll talk about some of these charts on Legacy that I'm looking at. I'll trade it. Why not? I would love to see this reconsolidate, maybe make a little mini cup and handle here, a pattern out, do something. You know, last time SOL really did anything, time chart pattern wise was back here where I was talking about head and shoulders. Everyone was telling me, no, this is a massive falling wedge, and it just kept breaking down, breaking down, breaking down. But I just think you have to be careful across the board with everything here, with the amount of liquidity sloshing around. I do like Link, again, back to this weekly theory. Link had a head and shoulders. It looks like it has held for now. I like the possibility and potential of a falling wedge here, just as I'm poo-pooing the old Solana falling wedge idea, but I honest to God really do like that as an idea. And I like this on the weekly a lot above the weekly cloud. There are a lot of charts that look like this. Link is one such chart. ADA, which if you know anything about me, never been bullish this chart, probably ever, but it has broken above the cloud on the weekly and has held above the cloud on the weekly. That's fair game. Is this a flag? Is it a pennant? Sure, whatever. Call it whatever you want. Looks good. Is this a promise that this stuff does well? I don't know. I just know that when the technicals are favorable, good things tend to find their way into price. Doge is another one. Similar idea, similar concept. Holding above the weekly cloud, broke out of the weekly cloud, has pulled back and is just ranging. Doesn't look bearish here at all. That looks good to me. And then Algo, if they have it here on Kraken, also similar idea, similar concept. I like that it's pulled up almost above the weekly cloud and it's starting to look good. So you've got charts that are more bullish than this. Ripple, H-bar. Everybody's asking me to look at H-bar all the time. I don't think it's on Kraken for US users, so I can't actually pull it up. Ripple for me looks okay here. I can't pull the trigger up here at $3. It's going to need some consolidation in my book first before this thing becomes tradable to me. Maybe I don't think it goes back to 2, but that's one place to touch it. There's a world, there's a planet where again, all things are legal on Monday and Ripple just sends to 15, right? I don't know. That's just not for me to guess and decide. But that's where this measures if this continues to break out of this multi-year thing that it's in. And of course, the elephant in the room is ETH. ETH took a wild swing down with the liquidity sloshing into Solana and the meme stuff going on there. Daily cloud does not look good for ETH. The pattern here may or may not be some sort of bearish whatever. It's a bunch of nothing, right? It's a bunch of nothing, and that's a problem when something else is up 20% in a day and you are doing this and you look like this. And people are begging and moaning that, oh, why isn't someone buying ETH? Not a good place to be. Vibes are down bad, as they say. This is the only chart I care about for ETH for the entirety of the year. I care about this more above 38, 36. Maybe those are good places for alerts. Above 4,000, the sky clears up. Everybody gets bullish. We get good things on the ETF front. Maybe Joe Lubin buys ETH via consensus IPO. Right, I don't care. It literally doesn't matter to me. The point is above 4,000 is where things start to get interesting. Some other quick charts I thought I mentioned for today's video. As far as late cycle stuff, if this stuff starts moving collectively, this like GameFi, NFT, DPIN, Metaverse stuff, if this stuff starts moving, it's probably the end of the cycle, if I had to guess. But these charts, like a lot of these legacy charts I'm about to show, similar concept, similar idea. They've gone nowhere for a couple of years. You can see the potential for an inverted head and shoulders on these. AXS, Mana, Gala, Filecoin. Filecoin's problem is FDV. It's just too high. It's like a 10 billion. So I don't know about that one, but Flow, Sand, 2 others. Similar idea. Set alerts, come back to these later on in the cycle is my guess. A few quick charts for legacy, and then we'll get out of here. XLE looks excellent on the weekly cloud. This thing has been all over the place. It has not traded well. It has not liked anything above 95. I think now is a good time to look at these sectors and think about narratives where good things could happen. Do these energy companies drill too much oil and drill themselves into the ground? Literally, by tanking oil prices, bringing too much supply on to the market? I mean, maybe. Do they see some sort of M&A boom? Maybe. I like that it's been a struggle up here. I like that it's still back above the cloud. So I still like XLE in the near term. Amazon is another one, maybe a flag, maybe wedge, maybe pennant. I don't know. It looks very interesting up here, just below all-time highs. If this breaks out, this does measure 250 plus. One of the best looking charts in the Mag 8, in my opinion. And then if we go to the bottom of the barrel, stuff like this would be like the Gala AXS type crowd, similar to Zoom, similar to Peloton. Whether it's M&A, whether it's hostile takeover, whatever it is, it wouldn't surprise me on a chart that looks like this. They're either going bankrupt or this breaks out in a big way. This is figs. So for me, it's just pre-positioning and or alerts. Currently I have alerts on this at like 630, but very interesting chart. Just years of nothingness, right? IVZ, kind of similar. This is Invesco. Do markets do well in 25? If yes, Invesco probably does well. Does Schwab list more crypto products in 2025? If yes, is that good for this chart, SCHW? I would think so. Looks interesting and reasonable. And then lastly, RIVN, just another plug for this one. Bankrupt or 50. That's kind of the binary flip here. Just down for years. And maybe this is the catalyst that needs to do something. We'll see. So for this week on BTC, I'd be careful about doing anything until Tuesday, because at this point, it's anyone's guess, anyone's game. Lots going on out there in those trenches. That's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.